Boy, do I love me a space pirate Star Trek episode. Let's get into the review and recap of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Episode 7, The Serene Squall. Getting right into it, right? We start right back off with seeing my girl T'Pring, and man, this woman is just beautiful. Like I don't know if it's just the makeup of this episode, but the actress, the character, very beautiful. We see her doing her job at the rehab center, and of course, we're at a Vulcan rehab center, so they believe that they can rehab people, even the worst criminals in the world, back into society because everybody serves a purpose. Nobody needs to die, right? And we definitely get back, jumping back into a little bit of like the previous episode, with the body swap, episode 5, I believe, and because she doesn't like hijinks, and we get a little bit of seeing her wanting to repair her relationship with Spock, but not repair, but like definitely try more, just because like they're both like really heavily involved in their jobs. He's with Starfleet on the Enterprise on this mission right now, and she is doing her job, which is very important. And they are trying to do the long distance relationship, which most people know does not work. Like you gotta really be not only into that person, be committed to sway everything off, and even doing what they're doing, and trying to long distance calls, and everything like that is something that physical meetup is still something that they both longing for. They both want to do. Really great episode here. And like I said, we get the character. We come into the character that's of course the Enterprise responding to another distress signal, and wound up hailing down the ship. And this episode pretty much just winds up being, we find out, the Enterprise is being taken over. And in this episode, we find out, of course, your boy Pike and his father, apparently, because they go into like the whole dinner at the captain's table, and they wind up explaining that Pike is a Boy Scout. He's the Superman of the Star Trek universe, basically. Like he's willing to do whatever. He's going to be the nice guy to get the job done. And we definitely see, as they're doing this, like we see that the Enterprise is being flown very well by Miss Ortega. Probably one of the best pilots that we don't talk about. Mainly because she's a new character for this show, but she definitely goes into detail about how she prefers to fly the ship manually. We definitely don't get to see a lot of that. I mean, a lot of it is, of course, like automatic flying and radar, stuff like that. But definitely, like I said, we definitely don't really get moments of course, you flying an entire starship mainly by yourself, mainly because it's dangerous. Um, and this is a moment, like there's another episode, part of the episodes where we see that Spock is still continuing to really identify who he is, like what he is, struggling to identify himself as either human or Vulcan. And who we find out later is the Queen of the Pirates. We find out that she is pretty much telling him like, yeah, you don't have to be either one, you could be both, right? Like, and then we find out that she's playing him the entire time. She's playing to his emotions, she's playing to his human side, because that is one of his biggest weaknesses that he has to deal with, on top of course his Vulcan logic, which he kind of counteracts that with that. And then we have a moment in the show where they have to pick the right asteroid to blow up to stop the flight to shield, or they're about to get blown up. Pike then asks him to make a choice from his gut, which we already know Vulcans don't do that. They don't. That's illogical to them. That's guessing, as Spock says later in the show. They don't want to do stuff like that. It's either the right answer or it's not. And then, like I said, like the Enterprise winds up getting hijacked, and so easily too, man. I'm starting to believe like these starships, like security systems, is just trash. And of course, we know that the Queen of the Pirates is on the ship, so she probably did something to let them get aboard, which I don't think they explained. I feel like they just, from my perspective, they just appear on board. And of course, they don't kill anybody, but they do wind up taking over the ship and trying to capture everybody and sell the ship. And then we find out later that the entire point of this hijacking was to get the Spock, who she's going to use him to get to Spring to release one of the prisoners that's in the rehabilitation center that we visited earlier in the episode. And then, of course, we see, my girl Nurse Chapel, who is definitely one of my favorite characters in the show. She is definitely, go ahead fighting pirates on the ship. She's doing her thing. Like everybody, I feel like everybody on the ship has at least some type of fighting training to be able to take these people down. But she winds up getting away as soon as they board the ship, and winds up, knocking out two, and then being saved by Spock, and who we find out again is the Queen of the Pirates after revealing herself. And they'll be playing because she was waiting for Spock to disarm the lockdown that Una had put down on the ship previous. So they wound up, Chris and them wound up going down to the planet to and then they wound up getting set up in a whole trap by the pirates. Pretty, like I said, it's pretty. I feel like the episode, pretty much the entire episode, was pretty lighthearted. Lighthearted, and of course, like I said, dealing with Spock's whole thing with his girl, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then we find out, Pike is trying to play the pirates against each other and cause a mutiny. Offers to cook for them because they're out here eating trash, and then they wind up, he winds up talking to them to wind up getting the ship taken over. And he's like winds up causing a mutiny. And Captain Angel, by the way, I keep saying the Queen of the Pirates, but yeah, Captain Angel, who we find out definitely portrays him, and he just I thought, for some reason I thought he knew it was coming. She initially kind of revealed herself earlier on with the whole relationship and kind of giving him too much background story. But that could have been just her playing to his human side and playing his weakness and trying to take advantage of that moment. And like I said, she's using him to get to Pring to free her Vulcan lover, whoever he is to her. I think she said it was her husband at one point. They were together. Pretty much she tells him pretty much by doing this, it risks her career and everything else, and Spock's not going to let her do this. So he then proceeds to fake a relationship with Nurse Chapel, who they did they had chemistry earlier on in the show because of previous episodes where they're talking about a relationship. So it kind of looks like they're going to lead into that, but not the type of person that Spock is. So it kind of didn't look like it was ever going to lead to that point. Then we see that he then kisses Nurse Chapel very passionately, by the way, which is very convincing. But of course, Angel's not buying that at all. She just thinks that's a ploy to get away. But in the midst of this, Pike and then wind up getting away and hail the ship and beam themselves back on board. And of course, Angel gets back away. We find out that the prisoner that she was trying to free is Spock's half brother, who was apparently very dangerous. So like I said, another good episode. This not that it felt like filler, but it definitely felt like it was mending a lot of broken pieces that didn't get resolved in previous episodes. Like I said, Spock's relationship with T'Pring, seeing where that is, definitely kind of seeing how that goes too, because we really don't see a lot of that relationship in the main series. So definitely seeing where that kind of leads Spock. Definitely figure out why the security is so terrible. Leon's supposed to be the best, man, one of the best, and I feel like people just keep getting up on these starships, keep beaming aboard, and the whole purpose of the shields and everything else is so people can't do that. It just seems so easy, just beam yourself aboard a ship. I don't know why I'm cannot get those two words together. But I definitely see I'm not sure how many episodes we're getting, probably 13 or so, but I could definitely see Angel obviously being a reoccurring character that becomes a thing. Her and the space pirates. And again, this is another instance of the Enterprise being out of its jurisdiction, not having any power, not able to communicate, and the crew just happens to figure it out. I'm surprised I haven't seen anybody die yet, because they just keep going on these really reckless missions. And luckily enough, these space pirates were were nice, mainly because they probably didn't want the freaking Federation on their back. So that probably made a lot of sense there. But yeah, like I said, another good episode. The Serene Squall, which they claimed, to be like the best, pirating crew in the galaxy, was pretty not that great. But like I said, it was still a great episode. Definitely worth the time. Paramount Plus is definitely, getting this money on the Star Trek, man, from the animated series to these good shows. I cannot wait to the next episode. Can't wait to do another review for you guys. This was fun. And I'll catch you guys for another one. See you.